Hey, 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 it is me, Leslie Poe, your happy chick for your Hear Your Truth Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm going to jump right in. Today, we're talking about virtual reality for mental health. Yes, virtual reality is not just for gaming. It is amazing with the way the technology has happened. Um, I thought I wanted to kind of look it up too because I thought about it and I know that occasionally because of the lights and where it is on your eyes, it can have different stimulations on the brain, and that's what kind of made me question it. So I'm going, I would think that it would be harmful to certain people, and maybe it is. I'm sure people who have schizophrenia and things like that, their brain, the way it reacts to your brain, you do want to do research before you attempt this approach. But especially on your own, because there are things you can do on your own, like meditation. There are different things within the VR community, and you can research. You can go on Google and research some of them. I tried to look up a few. It was really hard to find anything specific. What did come up was guided meditation VR. So you can look that up. You can Google guided meditation VR and then Google Earth VR. And so that also has some exercises and games that will help you to you're in the air and you're I guess it talked about um, looking over the earth and different things like waterfalls and things that brought peace and relaxation to you. And then there was one mention I found a mention about VR regalia, regatta. Sorry, I had to think about it because it's sailing. I'm like, what is that called? It's a regatta. So VR regatta, and that is about sailing, and there's something about the sailing that's very soothing as well. So you can find some specifics. There aren't a lot out there yet. But what's good, what I would recommend is to reach out to a virtual reality therapist and see what they offer and talk to them about what your issue is. So let me circle back to why VR is good. So virtual reality, there's a therapy called immersion therapy and or experience therapy. It's called different things, but basically it's what those of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s know about Fear Factor. Anybody remember Fear Factor? I do. It'll haunt my dreams. So Fear Factor was basically immersion therapy on steroids. So you maybe have a fear of spiders, and so it puts you in this big giant tub, clear, of course, so we can all see, of you having spiders crawl all over you. I know some of you are like, oh my God, I can't. Like, yeah, just the thought of it. So things like that, immersion therapy. There are a lot of people who may be afraid to ride elevators or who are afraid of spiders or snakes or public speaking. And in the past, you've had to be in person to experience a lot of these. And it's not realistic unless you have a television show type budget to have a client that you would immerse completely in spiders. You don't really need to go that far, quite honestly. A person that's afraid of spiders, you probably only need one, buy them or what have you. But suffice to say, it helped to be in person. And that's challenging for a lot of reasons, like a fear of heights. There's a number of fears and phobias that aren't even conducive or safe to do in person, whereas virtual reality allows you to be immersed in that experience and work on getting over that fear or that challenge. The same is true for anxiety and depression. So, getting that reassurance, looking at the progress that comes with even game playing to build up your confidence as far as, hey, I can do this. And it helps trigger the brain to be able to realize and build up that self-esteem to help you in the actual world. So using games to focus on phobias like spiders, flying, driving, things like that. Driving is a really good one. I was a driving instructor, and you'd be surprised at how many young people do not want their license. They don't want the responsibility of driving. And I applaud them for recognizing that it is a responsibility, not a right. Because we're all like, oh, I can drive now. Yeah, well, some of you who've been driving for many, many years shouldn't be driving. I'm just saying, but I digress. So thinking about VR therapy is certainly another approach, especially also now, whew, bad language. Anyway, thinking about where we are with technology, with COVID and how we isolate, it's also another way to communicate with others. I read an article that talked about how virtual learning isn't necessarily a bad thing for teenagers, because with teenagers, they don't have that so much of the negativity that you get in person in class, in on site in schools with, as a teenager, everything is going, I don't want to say wrong because that's not fair. We're growing, right? When we're going through teenage, we're going through puberty. So our skin is breaking out, our bodies are changing, our voices are changing, and it's all happening in front of people. Now, these days with Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all these things, it's kind of happening that way anyway. The downside, though, is if you are someone that is struggling with self-esteem issues or self-worth issues or body issues, then having it broadcast and permanently plastered in the World Wide Web is also possibly it's probably making it worse. So by having virtual learning, you're not exposed to as many people at a time. You're also online with people. Now, studies have shown that, yes, there's still bullying, there's still all of that going on, but reframing how we approach mental health and different tools that we can use now to have it reach people who are marginalized, who might not believe necessarily in therapy, and having this be another avenue that they can use to work on an area in a non-judgmental, in a non-religious, non-biased way is a technology that I think we all really need to kind of wrap our head around and start to embrace, because the benefits are endless. So I wanted to talk about that today and just kind of bring your awareness to virtual reality therapy, VRT, and do research on your own if this is an area that you'd like to explore, and get educated on it, because I feel that using our technology, which you guys have heard me fuss about technology, I'm not the biggest fan, but finding areas where it does work for you in your life is definitely what it's there for. So I think we should use it for its benefits and stay away from how it's damaging our senses, our sense of self, and our communities. So I hope that was helpful. Definitely consider virtual reality therapy. I actually now, because I've been thinking about it too, so I might do a little research myself. So stay tuned. I might have some feedback one of these days on my experience with it. But I think, again, be open to the possibility. So hope that was helpful. As always, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all at LP Speak. And as always, until next time, go be do.